Welcome to Nkositalkshows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled within.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Over to you, Giselle. Please introduce everyone.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world and you're viewing us today. We welcome you to another edition of Nkositalkshows. Today we have another exciting topic for you. And with me, I have two experts, Caroline and Dr. Biggett, and we are just going to share our knowledge with you, and hopefully you can apply some of it to your lives. So we want to hand back over to our host, Nomsa. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Giselle. Caroline, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, hello and welcome. As the writing facilitator, what I do is I support women in becoming more productive with their writing by connecting them with their deeper innate ability to write. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within, an unmuting of their story, and getting it written, getting their book written, their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within me. So I'm Carol Ann, the writing facilitator, unlocking the writer within.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. Over to you, Dr. Biggett. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Numsa. Thank you, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I am from the United States, so it's early morning in here. I have one question for you. Would you love to be successful? Chances you said yes. Do you really know what it takes to be successful, and are you emotionally prepared? Because if you're not, success will be so hard to reach and even harder to sustain. So today we're going to share with you how to deal with the emotional aspect of success, so you can be as successful as you would love to be. And I'm Birgit. I'm a great transformation and life success coach, and I'm here to help you be more successful than you ever dreamed you could.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Biggett. So the topic today is how to deal with the emotionality of success. So I'm gonna start with you, Giselle. Please, could you please explain to our audience what does it mean? The topic, what does it mean?
Thanks, Nabsa. Sure. When we think about the emotionality or just the emotions of success, it means that, on our journey to success, we are dealt with varying emotions. And the key to really harnessing these emotions is where we mess up and we let the emotions dictate our journey. And so this discussion today is just to give some insight in how to manage, how to harness, and how to navigate through the emotional aspect of success. We've been taught that success is simply just either your salary or a promotion, and it's a linear process. But we have come to understand, I know Caroline and Dr. Biggett will also share that we have come to understand that there is an emotional aspect to success that you have You really have to be competent at navigating, or else it will impact your journey of success negatively. And so when I think about the topic emotion of success or the emotionality of success, I think about equipping myself to successfully navigate through the emotional aspect of my success journey.
Thank you so much, Giselle. So, Dr. Bigot, why is it important to understand the emotions of success?
Giselle has touched on that a little bit actually, because a lot of times, what we think it's an outside. So with success, we think it's an outside thing, but it is actually, like we know a lot. Many of us understand that our result is a reflection of our inside. So what you see on the outside, whether somebody is successful in a relationship or in generating money or something, it's actually the reflections of your inside. Because if let's say you happen to carry in you one of the four invisible or hidden barrier of success. There are 4 or 5, depending on how you see it, the hidden barrier of success. And one of them is fear of burden of success. And many of us don't realize this, but have you ever think about this, at least here in the United States, when you become more and more successful, start making more money, and then you got into this, oh, wow, I'm going to go up in one tax bracket. And this has happened to me. I'm going to go up in one tax bracket. And when you have that and you have this type of fear that you don't even realize, what happened is your subconscious going to say, well, that will be a whole lot of money, isn't it? That's a lot of money if you live in the United States, at least. And you will subconsciously slow down your progress until you become aware of this. And this is just one example. There are multiple other hidden barriers of success. Let's say you are into a public speaking and become a public figure, and you want to be successful, but then you start thinking, oh my, if I'm very successful, I can't even go out and not getting noticed, and I wouldn't have my privacy and all these things, and it will slow you down. So if your outside result is a reflection of your inside, and that's why you want to make sure that you are emotionally ready to become very successful.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. You talk about the fear that sometimes when you want something really, really bad, and when you receive it, it can cause fear into your life. So, Carol Ann, how do you actually prepare yourself for this success? Because I was listening to Tony Robbins today. He says sometimes when you succeed and you're not actually prepared for it, that can scare you off. So how do you prepare yourself? Okay, this is the success that I need. Like today we are Nkositalkshows, and then tomorrow it could be a different story for us. And then how do you handle that?
I think the first thing is to is to recognize what it is that where the motion comes from. What is the root of it? Because as you're leading up to success, when you're working through, as Giselle says, there's this journey that you go through, that you could be seeing success. And I know I've seen, it's like I've been aware of holding myself back, because it's like all of a sudden I see the success being all of these clients coming, all of these people clamoring for my attention, and I'm going, oh my God, can I cope with this? And so what I've done is I've actually worked with that so that I can then see that in a way that I am dealing with it. I am coping with it. It's not such a big deal, and it is being able to go to the root of it, identify it, and embrace it. Because the more you push it away, It's like everything, what you resist persists. So unless you deal with it, it's not going to go away. So you really need to face it and deal with it. And if it just suddenly comes overnight before you're even prepared, then that's another ball game, because it's like, okay, you sit with how you're feeling. You sit with it. And again, it's embracing it, recognizing it and going, okay, so where's this come from? And then work with that such that you can release it, you can clear it. And there's lots of different tools and techniques that you can use to do that with, so that you can then be present. And again, it comes back to be in the moment, because what is actually sending you off emotionally is you being out there. As Dr. Brigitte was saying, it's being out there. If you're here with yourself in the moment, then all of those fears just go, because they're all based in the past and in the future. So again, it comes back to bring yourself into the moment. Remember to breathe, because very often the fear we hold our breath. So breathe. And then just go, okay, what's my next step? And respond and just take that next step. And just keep doing that step by step. And eventually it'll just get easier. Not saying that something else won't come along and try and check you off kilter, but you've got the tools then to sit again, bring yourself into the moment, breathe, and go, okay, what's my next step?
Sir, if I could just add to what Caroline is saying, in mentioning one of the tools that I would use, because success is like a drug, and it takes you on a roller coaster ride, the highs and the lows. And so what I would apply is a tool that everyone knows about, a SWOT analysis, believe it or not. I look, as Caroline is saying, you're in the moment, you're looking at this point of your success journey, and you use this tool to measure what are the strengths, what are the threats, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities. And so in that way, you are in control of the highs and the lows of that journey, the emotional aspect, and it doesn't take over the process for you. So you can see, you can measure, okay, the strengths, and then you can pace yourself in how you want this journey to go, and okay, what are the threats? You'll be on the lookout for those threats. And so you cannot be caught by surprise when it comes at you. What are the weaknesses? Because every success journey, every point in your success journey, there are the highs and lows, as I said, and you have to come to that place where you measure and you look to see, okay, what can I do better? How can I get better at this? So applying that tool of a SWOT analysis to your success journey. So you're taking your journey into compartments. You're breaking it down, and you're not just going along mindlessly. You are in control. So I just wanted to add that to what Caroline was saying.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Giselle. Basically, it is important to actually make sure that emotionally you are ready, and to make sure that, like what you're saying, you evaluate your strength and your weaknesses, so that it can help you. I was watching this guy. He does the videos on Facebook. He said he came to a point where no one believed in his dreams, and when he went to sleep, he was like, that's it, I've had enough, I'm just gonna stop. He said that when he was doing his videos, it was like 100 views, and people were getting fed up with him on his friends on social media. So he said when he got up that day, when he said enough is enough, I'm gonna do something else, he said his video had gone viral. He didn't know what to do, and Facebook basically approached him. Now he works with Facebook Direct, so he does videos with Facebook. And he said he was basically saying he wasn't prepared for it. It's something that he was never prepared for it. And But his wife believed in him. He believed in him. She kept saying, I believe in you, honey. I believe in you. So it is important for us to be, basically to be prepared. You know, because when you say you want to be successful, that's what you want to, but sometimes it can be a different journey when that success that you've been wanting for so many years is handed over to you, because God can say, okay, you want it, here it is, can you handle it? So that's why Giselle and Carol Anna and Dr. Biget are actually telling you guys, the audience, that you have got to be prepared emotionally, and maybe basically have just somebody, a coach on the side that can actually help you as well. So Giselle, how could fundamentally flaw hinder success?
How can fundamental flaws hinder success?
Yeah.
Well, I think it feeds back into the previous question. I believe, and this is my view of things, that there is no overnight success. I don't believe, I don't subscribe to that. I believe you plan for success. And the better you become at planning for your success, when the things pop up that we term overnight, and it seems as if, woo, and it shoots you into the limelight, you have been prepared because you would have been doing the groundwork in preparation. It feeds back into all our discussions on vision and purpose. You know what you want, so you would be planning for this. And a part of that planning is doing that internal work, as Dr. Biget has mentioned, and looking at your capacity to handle success. Let's just say, for example, I'm not very good at engaging people. I'm a loner. I don't like to engage. I prefer to stay behind my computer. But a part of your success journey is about connecting with people, and connecting with people who will take you on the next step of your journey. And so that's a flaw in the context of success, because you can't not like people, you can't not like engaging with people, you can't not like pouring into people like we are doing today and expect that your journey continues on the momentum. So that's a flaw that you would have to deal with. And if you don't deal with it, the more successful you become, you will see that it will have a negative impact on your success journey. People will see that you say something, but there is no connection behind the words you speak. And people are looking for connection. It's about people. And no matter how successful you become, we hear about the successful people. And one thing people would always mention is that they still remain connected and grounded. You can still approach them. And that is what people will look for. So that's just an example of a flaw that will work against you if you don't deal with it as you become more and more successful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Giselle. Dr. Biget, how do I emotionally connect with myself, with my success? I make sure that I'm connected so that when I go out, when I speak, whatever the things that I do, that people can see that I'm embracing myself, I'm embracing my success, and I'm believing in this dream that I'm talking about. How do I connect?
Absolutely. Yeah. How do you connect with your success is
or if you want to add a little bit of what Giselle just said, feel free, please.
So to believe, how can you believe in your success is to, first of all, you need to believe in you. You need to believe, when we talk about fundamentally flaw, and Giselle's, I love what Giselle shared. And then if you take a step deeper, talking about it's all coming from inside out, if you take a step deeper, you see that it is at the end of the day, your success is about serving, but for your ability to be able to become successful and sustain your success, is all about you and what you feel and what you feel you deserve. And so, in other words, if you are you want to be successful, or let's say even let's talk about something different. Let's say a relationship, because success to me is not only money. You want to be successful in your work and have money in your bank account to sustain you, but also it's it's relationships, it's health, it's time, and you're being able to have time to enjoy your relationship, money and health, right? And so let's say in the relationship, you're a relationship expert, Imsa, and if you are in a relation, you want to be having a successful relationship, but if deep in your heart, for some reason, you believe that you are not lovable, you're not worthy of love, even as something come to you, a wonderful relationship, a wonderful potential partnership that you would really love, you will start at some point doing certain thing, often subconsciously, that will potentially hold the relationship where it is instead of allowing it to move forward. Or let's say you actually manage, you've done enough work, some work, that you allow, being able to actually allow this relationship to bloom in your life, and now you are with this partner, and if you fundamentally flawed and you believe you're not worthy of this relationship, at some point you're going to do self-sabotage that actually pushed away the beautiful person who is now in your life. The same thing if this is with your material success. For you might be able to say, oh, I want to be able to be very successful and this and that. But if you have this still underlying of who do you think you are, and you don't know what you're really doing, you have only done this for 2 years versus the experts has done this for 10 years and 20 and 40 years. When you become successful enough and now all the public eyes on you, you say, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. And then you disconnect from what it is because your fear become like an invisible barrier. Fear basically operate like smoke screen a lot of time and become invisible barrier and stop you from truly still connecting to what it is that you love and actually retrieving back in your fear. So that's for you to be able to believe and stay connected, you need to look at your inside, what it is that you really love, and know that you actually are prepared for that by clearing your inside and staying in harmony and in tune, so to say, with what you want, what you love.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. They were giving me some tips how I need to connect with my success and everything. So how do I actually enjoy what I have just achieved? Because some people, they succeed and they celebrate for the few seconds and then the next they're not happy. So but I need to keep this joy going. So how do I actually celebrate my success? So not for people but for myself, so I feel good within, and because this is something that I have worked so hard.
I think the celebration comes from within. It's that inner knowing that you've been successful, and unless you feel that, there is no celebration, there is no joy. Because I remember once being told that I was getting some feedback on a talk that I'd given, and I was told, oh, you're good, you could earn money from speaking. This was many years ago, and I remember inside I could literally feel myself scrambling, going, what's he saying? I didn't believe what he was saying to be true. And it's taken me all of these years to now start to think, well, actually maybe what he was saying was true, because I'm now starting to believe in myself that I could be that successful at speaking. And I remember doing an activity once that really demonstrated this to me, and how you can feel that success inside you. was I jumped off a high dive board. It's something I hadn't done when I was younger, and I wanted to do it, and I did it. And it's like, oh, I was so excited. And then I thought, a while later, let me do this again, because I had this belief in me that if I've done it once, I can't do it again. It was a really strong belief, which again set me up for not moving forward with things that I wanted to do. So if I'd been successful with something, it's like, oh, done it once, can't do it again. So I went along to this swimming baths again, stood on the high dive into this beautiful diving pool, and went to jump, but really had this sort of holding back a bit. Well, and I had to tell myself, done it once, you can do it again. And I jumped. But in my head, I didn't see it as perfect as I was going down. So when I got out of the pool, it was like, oh, I didn't do that right. I didn't do it, because I didn't see it as being successful. I went back round up there, up onto the high dive again, the board, and I stood there and I jumped again. But still in my head was this picture of descent right. And so inside I didn't feel successful. So I got round, went back up again, and you know, I could not jump. That time I was just frozen to the spot. No amount of talking myself through it would have me jump. So I went down and went into there was a swimming pool at the side. And I did some swimming, and I did some various techniques to reframe it. Some NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, some other activities that just helped to shift my perspective on it as I was swimming. And then I went, okay, I think I can do this now. And I went round, went up the steps, stood on the diving board, and just jumped. And in my head, it was perfect as I went down. And I got out of the pool and it was like, yes, I've done it. I was so excited. I could feel it inside because I saw myself as having succeeded and I felt it. And for me, that's how you celebrate the success. It's that joy, because someone who was just coming towards me, she saw it and she went, ooh, and that excitement just was contagious in that moment, so it's having that belief that you've succeeded and recognizing when it's not there and do something about that. But when you've got that, you can celebrate it. And then by celebrating, you share, and it's in the sharing with someone else is where the pure joy is, because they get your success, they get your joy, and they mirror it, and it just amplifies it. And it's just such an amazing feeling. So really, it's the sharing. It's that believing and feeling inside yourself, and then sharing it with others and allowing them to feel that joy and share it with you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. I was doing something for 4 days this week, so I finished yesterday. So I went and bought myself a cake, and my children, they were like, is there anyone's birthday? And I was like, no. And they were like, so why did you buy a cake? And I was like, because I'm celebrating. I finished my task and I'm having a chocolate cake to celebrate my success. And it actually felt good that I actually completed the task that I wanted to complete. Because sometimes people say you have to celebrate the bigger success, the what. It was a small thing for me, but it was very, very important that I took that task and I stick to it, and I finished it completely my 4 days that I said I'll complete. So thank you so much for that. If the audience are watching, please feel free to share our videos. I don't know if anyone is looking at the questions. I'm not actually looking at the questions, if anyone is asking questions. So I'm gonna come to you, Giselle. Can you define the term, the emotionality of success, please?
I think, well, we have touched on it a lot, But a step further, I would add to that defining of the emotionality of success is what I call the dark side of success. And so when we look at success as a whole, there is the positive, negative, the light, or the dark side. And a big part of the dark side, the people, they leave alone. They don't like to deal with it because probably they think that success will only be positive and light. But I think the quicker we deal with the dark side of success and the dark side of our emotions, we will be able to better handle success. And I'll give you an example of that, the dark side of success. Success brings or attracts, let me use that word, would attract things to you, both positive and negative. And one of the negative things that success would attract would be competition. And as an individual, when you are measuring your success, you are only in competition with yourself. You have to set that from the get go. However, as you continue along your journey, it attracts competition because people see your success, they are attracted to your success, and then it attracts the dark side of that success, which is the competition. Drilling that down, if you get caught up in the competition, the dark side of success, it does what? It takes you off course. Yes? And so, as an individual, you have to tell yourself again and again, my success journey is my success journey. I am in competition with myself. I measure my success. And as you just spoke about, I celebrate every instance or every increment of my success journey. However, I need to be aware of the dark side that will be attracted to my success. One example, as I said, competition. Yeah, it serves as a detractor. It serves to take you off course. And if you get caught up in that emotion of competition, I'm competing with Dr. Biggett or I'm competing with Caroline because I want to be the best speaker in the universe or the best coach in the universe. We begin to dilute success because we are not focused on the purpose of success, which is to share and to serve. So, in defining the emotionality, we have to be aware of the negative, or as I said, the dark side of it, and stay on course. So, I just wanted to add that aspect in defining what we mean by the emotionality of success.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Giselle. You have your audience saying good morning, Giselle. What time is it your end, Giselle?
It's now 9:33 in
Oh
Trinidad
yes,
and
that is the
Tobago.
people
Yeah.
from your country. They're saying good morning, and
Hi.
it's Elizabeth and Ahmed Joseph. Elizabeth
Yes, yes,
like. So I
yes.
think they are your audience. And Louise says, please like my post and invite your friends. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Giselle. Dr. Biggett, Giselle, she's touched about you need to be aware of the dark side of success and the negativity of success. So how do you deal with the success, the dark side and the negativity? Because when you succeed, people will celebrate you, but some won't. How do you deal with those who don't want to celebrate you? Because not everyone wants you to succeed. And when that comes, so how would you deal with it? Some of the audience would like to know. I know you have dealt with it. We have dealt with it in Nkositalkshows Talk Show. People being funny with some of our speakers. How have you dealt with the success, your end, the haters, the dark side, the family members?
Thank you, Numsa. So the way I deal and the way I help, one of the many ways I help people deal with the haters, so to say, is to do two things. The first thing is to realize that you never really know their story. We never truly know somebody else's story. And so perhaps your success remind them to something unpleasant. Yeah, we don't know. They don't necessarily going to tell you that. Perhaps they hear something you say and it triggers something in them. And so whatever going on, we never know their story. And it is at the same time, it is not your responsibility to make them happy. Some people, you can't make them happy regardless of what you do in this world. Even if you change to what they say they want you, some people, they're still not happy. So some people are just not happy, and so it's not your responsibility to make everybody happy. There is a saying that even Buddha or Jesus, whatever your belief, cannot make everybody happy, because some people are just not happy. And then the other thing that I see is, you actually can take benefit from these people that is not happy with your success. You can use that. You can use it as something unpleasant, or you can simply use that. Let's say somebody is saying this opinion or that opinion and that opinion. And being a public figure, so I used to be like, oh my God, they're saying this and saying. And I learned very soon that, well, you can actually take their opinion and say, okay, well, there's this opinion here. How much truth is in here? And is this actually universe way? Universe sometimes work in a funny way, right? Is this actually a universe way to bring in an opportunity for me to improve? And yes, if it is when you look into that, like I have one person criticize me on the way that I pronounce a certain word. And I say, well, in case you haven't noticed, I speak with an accent. But then I look into that closer and I say, okay, well, I definitely can change my way of speaking in this way and that way. It will actually be a whole lot more serving. And so therefore I lean into that and use this arrow of displease, arrow of, you can see it as hatred, or actually say, okay, what's opportunity in this? And some of them, there is absolutely no opportunity. The person just, I don't know, don't like your face or something like that, and let them be. We never know what's their story. But in many cases, you can say, okay, is there a grain of truth? And if there is, how can I improve upon this and make and allow that criticism, hate comments, or whatever it is, to help you to become even more successful and serve even better.
Now, so if I could just add to something to what Dr. Biggett just said, she used a perfect example, a word, triggers. And we're speaking about the emotions of success. And emotions, we would understand, is about triggers. What triggers that particular emotion? And so your success and your success journey would trigger a particular emotion from those looking on, and it would be directed at you. But your response is also as a result of a trigger. And as she explained, you could choose to respond in like manner, or you could pause and say, okay, is there any truth to this? Can I really reframe how I think about this and choose how you respond? So when you're dealing with success, you have to be aware of the triggers, both external and your internal self triggers. What things, something somebody says triggers an emotional response when they're speaking about your success. I really wanted to just highlight that word she used, emotions, triggers. And as you go on your success journey, you have to be so aware of both the external and the internal triggers, and get a sense of balance as you navigate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just so it is very, very important how we respond in every situation, because sometimes people will just do things to actually take your glory away from you. So I'm gonna come to Carol Ann. Carol Ann, for you to be where you are not good at what you do. So that means it was just lucky that it happens that you are where you are. So you need to respond, girl. I'm just being mean to you. You are not good at what you do. So don't come to me and celebrating things that because we know you're not good. It was just lucky that you succeeded in what you do anyway. So you're telling me your success is, so I'm giving it back. That no, it was just lucky. You're not good at what you do.
Yeah, and as Dr. Brigitte said and Giselle said, I have a choice as to how I allow that to land with me. I can either be triggered by it and want to retaliate back and go, but you don't know my journey. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know, I dare you speak like that, you know. Or I can just be with that and just accept that that's your opinion. Doesn't make it the truth. It's your opinion. And I could choose to ask you questions as to, well, what is it that you know, makes you think that? Because maybe opening up the conversation will help me to get your perspective on why you think I've just been lucky, you know? And that then would help me to grow. As Dr. Brigitte was saying, there is an opportunity to grow from this. And so it is how I choose to respond or react. It is a response or reaction, but it is recognizing how it makes you feel. And I know in the past, a comment like that would have triggered me emotionally. I'd have felt punctured, and that's my word. It was like, oh, right in my solar plexus, in my heart, and it would have deflated me, you know, and I wouldn't have been able to pick myself up. I'd have just felt like going, oh, there's no point carrying on. But now a comment like that just goes straight through me, because there is nothing within me for it to, you know, hang on to. There's nothing that can trigger it. And that's only through doing the inner work. All the times that I have been triggered and then stopped, looked at, well, what is here? What is causing me to be triggered? And then work with that, such that I can then be with the comment and get to know the perspective and where it's come from. And sometimes it isn't, there's more to what Dr. Brigitte was saying. There's another aspect on this. You could ask yourself, yes, there's what's the lesson that's being shown me here, but you could just turn it around and say, well, when have I done this to somebody else? When have I been mean in this way or criticized someone in this way? And then done some work on that, because it might be some past life stuff, some generational energy that comes through, or it may be something you did as a child, very innocently without thinking. But it's like there's that, you get it back. And so when you recognize that there's something here to be healed from your past and you heal it, it is amazing what opens up. I mean, I know I've sat in a few times, more than a few times, you know, asked myself that question, well, when have I done this? And it's like, never, no, never, couldn't possibly have done it. But when I allow myself to just be with that question and go, okay, let's work with this. And something comes to mind, something there. And I work with that, come to a place of forgiveness and healing. And it's like something, shifts inside. And then your relationship with that person, it just changes completely, you know? So it is about doing that inner work. Again, we come back to doing the inner work, making that choice stopping, breathing, being in the moment, and just then say, what can I do right now? Yeah. And then go, thank you. Thank you for the learning. Thank you for the lesson. And just move on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. I think it's very good to actually look at your childhood attachment, because childhood attachment can actually hinder you to succeed, and even friendship with other people, it can hinder you, because for me as well, I know there was a time where I will make a mistake and I wouldn't look at it, and then one day I've just decided, you know what, I need to look at the things that happened when I was a child. And you start, actually there's some things that happen, you ignore them, but then those things, they play a very, very important part in your life. So I had to go through healing myself, so that when I'm actually doing something, I know that I'm doing things from my heart, and I know I'm putting all in. When someone comes and judge me, and I know that I can put my foot on the ground and say, this is where I'm going. I'm not going where you want me to go. This is where I'm going. So thank you so much for that. So can you identify which emotions are critical to achieve and sustain success? Giselle, please.
Which emotions are critical to achieving success? Let me try and identify three. I would say compassion would be a critical emotion. It feeds back into what both Dr. Biggett and Caroline is saying. You know, you are in the moment and on your journey of success. It's not about you. And so if people question your success or they criticize your success in that moment, can you offer compassion to those individuals? And I think I'm better at doing that right now. And I'm not as, I love that word Caroline used, I'm not as punctured when you receive that criticism, because you know you're earnestly trying and you're doing what you need to do. And so it makes you a better person, and it helps you to understand the impact of your success when on your journey you develop that attitude of compassion towards others if they don't see things like you, or you know they criticize you. So compassion would be one of the attitudes I would say it's key, it's critical. Commitment. I would describe commitment as an attitude, a specific mindset, having that commitment to your success journey, and not being ready to give up if it's not going the way or in the timeline, or if it's in the valley of the journey too long and you want to go back up to the mountaintop. So commitment would be a second attitude. I would describe it as an attitude. And one more, the third, gratitude. I am practicing, especially this year. I made up in my mind to adopt an attitude of gratitude. I am going to be thankful, and that would help with that question you asked. How do we celebrate our success journey? It's in the small things. It's in the medium-sized things. We don't wait for the big things to celebrate. You be thankful, you be grateful at every step of the journey. So those are the three attitudes I would suggest are key, are critical to being successful. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Giselle. Dr. Biggett, for what Giselle has just said, that you have to be grateful. For me, like when something happens in my life, like my health and everything, when I get up in the morning, I have to be grateful for my breathing. I have to be grateful for my existence. Even if there is nothing to be grateful for, I know there's a big thing that I have to be grateful for, which is my life. So can you share to our audience what do you use to be grateful? Is there any affirmation that you use in the morning or for your success?
Thank you, Numsa. Yes. So what do I use to be grateful? Talking about grateful, if you like to practice to be grateful and expressing your gratitude, I actually have a gratitude group, Joyful Living Daily Gratitude, and so you can join that group and see what other people are grateful for and inspire you to be grateful. And as you said, Numsa, sometimes we actually take things for granted, and we get up and say, this part of my life's not good, and that part, how could I be grateful? There's absolutely nothing to be grateful. Well, as you said, to be alive is to be grateful for most of us. Now, there are people who are in a very dark moments, including myself in the past, where I wake up and say, why am I still alive? I wish I have died in my sleep. So you're not grateful, but perhaps at that moment, you have clothing to keep you either warm or cool. Perhaps at that moment, you actually wake up in your own house. But even if you don't have a house and you wake up in your car, because that's all, well, you still have your car, and you if you're listening to this, chances is you have access to the internet somehow. And there are many people in this world that still don't have electricity, never mind internet, to be able to listen to empowering messages. And so there are so many people right now here in the United States. It's very interesting to me and to notice in my gratitude group, actually. Right now here in the United States, there is an area, a state. In the United States, we have states. And the state of Texas, which is a huge state, is actually being affected by very unusual cold and heavy winter, way beyond what they usually expect. It is like record breaking beyond anything else is. So many places in Texas right now, in the middle of this really heavy, super cold winter, they don't have water or they don't have electricity. Can you imagine? And so many people who was in there who practice gratitude, they said, oh my goodness, all the things we took for granted, being able to have electricity, being able to have water, being able to have heat, they're not even prepared. And nobody even has like firewood pile up in their backyard because they live in pretty warm state. And so that's the other way for you to learn to be grateful. Look around now, literally right now where you are sitting. Look around. Do you have a chair that you're sitting on? Do you have electricity? Do you have wall that's not crumbling right behind you? Are you breathing without a machine? And if the answer to any of those yes, you have lots to be grateful, things that many people in this world don't have.
Thank you so much, Dr. Birgit. I live in United Kingdom, and when I look at the place where I come from, we have big cities and then we have the village. So my family, we had a house in the city and then in the village. So I enjoyed living in the village because in the village I can do everything that I want to do, which means I can go to school and I can come back and play like a child. I can get muddy if I wanted to get muddy. I can go to the river and just swim and just not worrying about the germs and everything. But then I come here and I see people that they have everything, but they still complain, and I'm like, wow, we all have choices, but be grateful for what you have, because if you go in other countries and see some children, they don't have what we have. Like myself, I used to go to school, and my dad, I couldn't understand if my parents, if I had two pairs of school shoes, I couldn't understand why I had 2 pairs of school shoes. The other child, they didn't have any. And I asked my parents, they wouldn't explain it to me. So I just give away. In the end, they just, they kept me with 1 pair of school shoes. Because if they buy me 2, that means I go to school and I come back, I've given it away. I'm walking with barefoot. It's fine in my country if you walk with barefoot. Nobody cares. You are still a normal person, you're still playing, you're still breathing. So, Carol Ann, you were born and raised in the United Kingdom, and you are very, very successful. So, please tell our audience, what makes you be the person that you are? Because you are a very grateful woman, and you are grateful. I hear all of you talking about God, how God has done this. So can you actually explain to people what is it important to be actually be grateful for that little success that you have, so that when you're grateful, I don't know, I'm just talking like I don't know. When you are grateful, do you get more blessings? Or when you are selfish, what happens? Can you give our audience some tips?
Yes, I think it is what has been said. It is recognizing what it is you've got, because it is so easy to look at other people and think, I wish I had that. And I know my mum was always sort of complaining a bit about the house. She said it wasn't big enough, and she felt it was quite tight for her, She found it quite claustrophobic, and so she would always be going out and that. But what I realized was that my dad grew up in a smaller house to the one that my mum and dad bought and that I grew up in, but my mum grew up in a bigger house, so it's all comparative, isn't it? You're comparing it to something else. And I've realized that actually it depends how you look at it. It is a decent sized house. It's a really well built house, and I feel really grateful for my parents for actually having that wherewithal to buy a house, but also grateful for my grandparents for supporting them in being able to buy the house, because it was really hard. And even though I think it was probably only about £1,000, but the house is 65 years old, but £1,000 in those days was a lot of money. So I know my grandparents gave my parents a helping hand. And I've always been grateful to my parents for the way that they always allowed us to do things and encouraged us to do things, take on new learnings, to take up sports, to take up interests, to take up hobbies. And if we wanted to go on a school trip, I always remember that they would find a way of getting the money so we could go on that trip. And it took me quite a while to realize that actually they did that by going without themselves, because they didn't want us to miss out. And they always made sure we had a holiday every year. We went somewhere. To start with, it was my grandparents had a bungalow in one part of the country, and I used to love going to that bungalow. We had great fun there, at the seaside. And then we'd go to Cornwall and Devon, with my parents and my aunt and uncle and family. But we always had a holiday, which I'm really grateful for. So, and that thirst for learning, because both my parents' schooling was interrupted. My mum, because of the war, her school was taken over, and so she was passed between different schools, so her schooling was compromised. And she always had this belief that she wasn't very clever. But actually, she was really clever, more in a creative way than an academic way. But I also believe that if she'd had the chance, there was that within her, you know. But they both pushed us towards being successful and wanting to be happy. And so I'm really grateful that that's what I'm really grateful for. And to be honest, I've always loved this country. I've always been grateful for living in this country. And I cannot understand why people put it down so much, because we have such amazing countryside. I visited many different places in this country, and that freedom that we have to talk, to travel, you know, it wasn't until I met it's now my daughter's husband, but, you know, realized that actually the limit that Jamaicans have with their travel, that restriction, I was thinking, wow, you know, I've never experienced that. So we're really lucky in this country. And so I've always been very grateful for being in this country and growing up. It's like, okay, thank you, Lord, for, you know, letting me be born into this country. So yeah, it is recognizing what's there. And there's a lot of things I could complain about, but those are what holds me and keeps me going, because that's what I'm truly grateful for. And that's what has me be successful, you know? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. Giselle, do you have any words of encouragement to our audience based on what Carol Ann has just said? Just to leave it with our audience, please.
Yeah, sure. Just to recap, one, on your journey of success, firstly, you define what success is to you. And I love Caroline's account, you know, about the house and the size of the house they grew up in. And someone else might say, you know, well, I grew up in a large house, so you didn't have a successful childhood. But no, in her mind, I did. I was able to go on vacations. I went to the countryside. We always had family time. So you need to define for yourself what success is. Secondly, you need to understand that your success journey is your journey, and don't fall into the trap of comparison. Put blinders on. I am not going to compare my journey with anyone else's journey. And three, you need to understand that along with your journey of success, you have to be aware of the emotions that would come along with it. And so you have to develop the emotional acumen. That's the term that they use to be successful. So the compassion and the commitment and the gratitude, those are some examples of emotional acumen that you need to develop. So you have to look inside and identify, okay, I need to level up on my gratitude. I need to level up on my compassion. And then you also have to be aware of the triggers that would evoke the dark emotions that you have to have a handle on, because you want to create that balance as you go on your journey towards success. So those are the three things I just want to remind the listeners this morning. Define, no competition, be aware of the emotions, and continue on your journey.
Thank you so
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Giselle. It's like you are reading Elizabeth's comments. She's been talking about compassion, commitment, and
gratitude.
Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. Biggett. Any words of encouragement you like to leave with our audience, please?
Thank you, Numsa. Yes, the word of encouragement, my word of encouragement is that you deserve it. Many times, as we become successful, we say, particularly subconsciously, that we might feel that we think we wanted it, but many times we might say, oh, do I really deserve this? Yes, you do deserve that. And for some of us who says, well, okay, there's a lot of hungry people or a lot of this and a lot of that in this world. So why do I deserve to have this and that when they don't? Well, the best way for you to be able to help them, whomever that taps on your heartstrings, is for you to be their example and to be as successful as you possibly can. And then you can go back and say, this is how you can do it. You can give, when you can teach somebody how to fish, it's much more beneficial than just giving them fish. And so that's you deserve to be successful, and it's not just for you. Actually, it is also for those who you care about and love.
Birgit, over to you, Caroline. Carol Ann, please. Any words of encouragement you would like to leave with our audience?
Yes, I think it's one thing that came to mind is just be true to your heart and really follow your heart. But the other thing is about being successful. It's like, as has been said, you are a guiding light, you're a shining light, you're an inspiration, you're an example, and you give other people permission to be successful by being successful yourself, and the way you are being around success as well. And it's, who are you to deny inspiring other people and allowing them to then move towards success and have success? So just recognize the power that you have in being successful, that inspiration, that encouragement that you give to others. And that's important. That's why God gives you these gifts, so you can be successful, so you can inspire others. So keep going, just keep going, because it's like, it's worth it. It's so worth it.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. For me, I'll leave my audience with whatever background you come from, you can still succeed. I have two parents. I have my step parents and I have my parents. My dad, he was just a teacher. I grew up in the village and going to the city to visit my mom and my stepdad. My stepdad come from a very wealthy family, and that's why I don't use, I've never spoke about him, because I know everyone in the town where I come from, they know him, because they were very wealthy people. But there's one thing that, although I had my stepdad, knowing that he can give me anything that I want, I never stopped being hungry to succeed. That's why I'm in United Kingdom, because I knew my dreams. They supported me, my parents, with my dreams. So if you are watching right now and you are living in that house, compound, whatever you describe, you're walking with barefoot and you're wondering why other people are succeeding, why are you not succeeding? It's you that is stopping you succeeding. You can be who you want to be, as long as you are willing to ask, to cry out, to seek that success and be the person that you want to be, so you can succeed. And these girls, they've succeeded. We all come from different backgrounds. So we all have this journey. We walk through different journeys, but there's one thing that we come together with, one voice. We are leaders. we have our own voice. We have worked very hard to have our own voice. So Nkosi Talk Show is about you leading with your own voice, finding yourself, finding your personality, finding who you are. And if you are somebody who is watching Nkosi Talk Show, we don't want you to be a follower. We want you to be a leader. You can contact these coaches. They're not here to entertain you. And they're not here for you to be their followers. They are here for you to actually want to work with them, wanting to change your life. So please, if you are watching us, don't be a follower, be a great leader in your own life. Have a voice by working with these guys, by watching their videos and implement what they're teaching you. And then tell us some stories one day. So live with grace, everyone.
Welcome to Nkositalkshows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled with it.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Lead from within, everyone, and God bless you.